The Rosie and Bill Show wish to thank our partners and Positivity primary sponsors.
The Roselli Agency, based in Kennett Square, Pennsylvania. Brian and his team of insurance professionals have been serving the needs of Chester County for more than 2 decades.
The Mallon Agency, located in Springfield, PA, where they take pride in tailoring the right insurance policy for the right client and exceeding expectations every time.
I'm something that you left behind. You call it yours, I call it mine. You got your reasons, I got this rhyme. I'll sing it to you every time, like oh, 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 let me go. Oh, now, oh.
Hi everyone, welcome to the Rosie and Bill Show. Carlstadt, Minnesota is a one-stop town with a population of 713 people. One of its residents has been making stops all across the country, opening for the likes of Craig Morgan, Joe Nichols, and Jared Neiman. Please welcome to the Rosie and Bill Show an artist that has been known as country music's ultimate American girl, Dariann Leigh. Hi, Dariann. So nice to have you on the show tonight.
Hi, it's great to be here.
Well, it's our pleasure. We're looking forward to getting to know you and having a great conversation. And Dariann, what I'd like to do is start the conversation with a little bit about Carlstadt, Minnesota. Now, first and foremost, am I saying that right, Carlstadt?
Yes, you're right on.
Okay. It's being Scandinavian. I heard Carlstadt. I'm like, okay, there's definitely some Scandinavian influence there, I think, in the name of that town. And well, and most towns in Minnesota, or at least many anyway.
Right, right.
So one thing that really jumped out at us, when anyone who looks at your social media pages or at your website, it's pretty apparent that growing up in the small town of Carlstadt and the businesses that your family has been in for years really helped shape you as an artist and as a person. Can you talk to us about that?
Yeah, absolutely. I grew up with, like I was saying, a very, very small town, and my family's been engulfed in business for as long as I can remember, all the way back to my great-great-grandparents. And that really shaped, I think, not only our family's foundation, but also the way that everyone lives their life. You know, we've all benefited from the family having a business, and I've worked there at some point, but also growing up around the talks of a business has been really huge for me going into a business that is music, and owning your own business and knowing that you're a brand and all of these things that are sometimes so confusing, but it has helped shape my understanding for the business. And also, I think, given me a very large blessing in being able to understand what exactly that means from a very young age.
You know, that's really important because so many artists get involved in the music industry or the entertainment industry, and they're just kind of coming at it from the vantage point of the art and not the business. So the fact that you have that to draw from is really, I'm sure, going to help you quite a bit.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, the songs that you listened to growing up seem to underscore your own personal daydreams. How old were you, or when did you know that you wanted to become an artist?
Oh, I think I knew before I could even almost recollect that thought, really, to be able to comprehend what that meant. Honestly, I think my entire life was gearing up towards doing this. And that sounds very crazy, but it's just so many things in my life added up to do exactly what I'm doing. But I remember watching Disney Channel as a kid, was a total Disney kid, and they have a lot of musicians on Disney Channel, and watching them do their little singing moments. And my parents had bought us a karaoke machine when we were kids, and I would hijack that mic and run to my room and pretend I was like Hannah Montana on TV or whomever it was. That was all the rage at that time, like as far back as I can truly remember. But when I was able to kind of figure out that that was something that people actually did for a living, because as a kid, you're always thinking about, what am I going to do when I grow up? Everyone asks me, what job am I going to have? And you see the innocence of kids being like, I want to be the tooth fairy or something like that. And you realize from a very young age that some of those things are probably not something you're going to be able to do. But I think it's so interesting how at such a young age you can also realize what you can do. So I realized at a very young age. It's hard to put an exact number on it, but I definitely knew very young.
Well, that's so
Well,
cool that your parents gave you a karaoke machine. I'm jealous.
God bless them.
yeah, and there's something else that your parents gave you, and I just want to take a step back just for a second that I wanted to ask you about, because we watched your mini doc videos
Yes.
on your social media, and in part 3, there is a pink guitar hanging on the wall that I believe your parents were involved with in terms of getting it, but it's also covered in signatures. Can you tell us the story behind that guitar and also the story behind the signatures?
Yeah. My parents gave me a pink guitar for Christmas when I was about 8 years old, and that very quickly became my most prized possession. My family didn't know a lot about playing guitars or anything like that. So if I broke a string, my dad replaced it with fishing line. That's just how I grew up. Now you're probably imagining that doesn't sound good. It really didn't. God bless them for not only dealing with the karaoke machine, but a fishing line strung guitar. But it really just kind of became my thing. I had no idea how to play it. It was just a raggedy old guitar that I just beat on all the time. And we ended up going to a country music festival near my hometown. I think that following summer is the first concert festival, anything like that that I'd ever been to. And I put on my pink cowgirl hat, my little boots, and carried my little pink guitar around. Like it had like a pink furry strap, like a total girl. And I brought that with and had every single artist at this festival sign it. Neil McCoy, Low Cash Cowboys when they were before Low Cash Cowboys, not just Low Cash.
Oh yeah.
You name it, as many people as I could possibly find with it. And it actually became a thing that the heads of the festival knew about, because obviously there's this little girl showing up with a pink guitar everywhere. You kind of notice it. And they knew that I didn't have Neil McCoy's signature yet. And after his show, they brought me backstage, found me, brought me backstage, had him sign it. I got to play with his remote control car while he was playing with it. Like, it became a very huge token, and it's very sweet now, especially opening up for those people that had previously signed it. I opened up for Joe Nichols 2 summers ago, and he signed it when I was 8. It's very cool insight into like the past, but also the future.
Wow, you just never know, do you?
No.
I think that's the coolest thing, that these people that maybe you grew up idolizing or watching in concert, and now, like you said, you're a colleague.
Yeah.
For them. That's pretty exciting.
Yeah, it's very wild. I brought that guitar with when I opened for Joe, and he was like, "How long ago is this? Like 5 years?" And I was like, "Oh, like 10 plus."
Yeah, and plus you knew Low Cash Cowboys when they were still Cowboys, Preston and Chris.
Yeah.
Now, Dariann, I understand that by a very young age, you had performed in like 22 stage shows. What was it like growing up as a theater child for you, and what did you learn from it?
Oh my gosh. It was very much so everything that I could have ever thought of at a young age. If any second that I could get on the stage, any opportunity to go on the stage, I was all for it. I was a very quiet kid off of the stage, which always seems to be a little bit like a strange thought to think of, finding the stage as your comfort, but that's very much so how I've been since I was a kid. And for me, it was really just, there's summer theater in my hometown, and my brothers were always in it. I'm the youngest of 4, and I would go watch them because my mom also helped organize it. And I'd sit with my mom, and the girls would be learning their choreography for their next little part, and I would have already like learned it. For some way, some reason, I would soak it in the second I watched the director lay it out for them, and I just got it. And she'd be like, "The girls are looking at the little girl in the audience, not at me, because the little girl in the audience knows it. Why don't you come be in the play?" And I was like, "Absolutely, I would love to." And it just really went from there for me. I think it gave me a lot of confidence to do what I do now.
Well, and that's something that again, you talk about in that mini doc series, and I encourage our viewers to go ahead. What was there, 8 pieces, I think, to it all together?
Yeah.
I would encourage everybody to watch all 8. they're pretty short clips, but they're really cool, and you really get a lot of insight into who and what you are from that. And we appreciate you, adding that as well. Now, one thing I'm curious about is coming from that small town, and as you traveled and were opening up for some of those people that you just talked about, was there any kind of culture shock for you as you were going to, larger and larger towns and cities to perform?
Absolutely. But I was also very blessed to travel a lot as a kid. So I was very aware that the world was a lot bigger than my small town, and there was larger cities. And I loved them. I was all about it. I thought it was very cool and different, and I still do. But there's definitely times like moving to Nashville was totally different than my hometown. As you can imagine, there's no stoplights in my hometown, and there's hundreds upon hundreds of them here. I always say that the driving was the biggest adjustment in moving to Nashville, just because there is no traffic where I come from. The only traffic you get is a train every now and again. Here, there's traffic continually.
Do you go back home a lot?
Every once in a while, yeah. Mostly for shows and then some family time in between.
I'm curious, Dariann, do you feel as a songwriter more inspired to write, say, in Nashville or when you're at home? Is there a difference for you?
Sometimes it's really honestly mostly geared by just like the space that I'm in myself. The environment can be hugely inspiring, but I've always found that it's really just in the headspace that I'm in, and that can be found, anywhere, which is really nice.
That's true. That's a great point. It all comes from within. The
Right.
other thing is you've just celebrated a year anniversary from moving to Music City.
Yeah.
What has that been like for you? And how cool was it to have your favorite guy there with you, Zach?
Yeah, it's so fun. And it's really nice to have someone that not only is, he's in a whole different career field now than he originally was, but like he's doing well and I'm doing well. And I've always been really grateful for that, because having that support system is huge in doing this, and being here for a year. He moved hardly having hadn't been here before, and that's a large commitment to move states and states away. But I'm really grateful that we've both been able to find success here and to do well and find friends and family that we've built here.
If you were to take a look, Dariann, at the year that you've been in Nashville, and let's just say over the last 5, 6, 7 years, performing and doing what you're doing, how would you say you've grown as a singer and as a songwriter?
The weird thing about singing, and I guess weird but also beautiful, is that you forever have documentation of exactly what you sounded like, looked like, all those things. I think I sound light years better than I did 5 years ago, which is always wild because you think you sound great. And obviously in order to do this, you need to think you sound good too. And when I released my first EP, I thought it sounded awesome. Now I listen to it and I'm like, oof, not my favorite, but there's a time and a period for everything. Yeah, I think honestly, my onstage performance has grown so much. And not only that, but my songwriting and being able to be around people that are also doing what I'm doing has been huge. And honestly, just learning more, because you're never done learning in this industry. And that's something that I really enjoy.
Yeah, and we recently had a guest on who's been performing since a very young age, and there was a comment that she made where she said that when she's in Nashville, when she's in a room, let's say with other musicians or songwriters, she wants to be the worst in the room. That way, whatever is going on, she's going to be uplifted and everything's going to get better. And I thought that was a really interesting perspective, because I would think for someone new going to Nashville with so much talent there, at least in the beginning, might not be too hard to be the worst in the room, but that's still pretty darn good.
So true, though. Yeah, it's wild how you can think about things that way, but I totally get it. You want to work with people that are better than you because they make you better in just being around them.
They absolutely do. Now, I was going to ask you about one of your videos as we were preparing for the show, and I have to make a confession. I couldn't narrow it down to just one video because I love so many of your videos. I hope you don't mind. I'm going to ask you about 2 of them. Okay.
I love it.
One of them is the featured video on your Facebook page, 10,000 Miles. And I just, wow, just so powerful, the song and the video. And the other is one that it is just an amazing, the lyric video for it, which is also out, is amazing as well. And it's Jackson.
Thank you.
Can you talk to us about the writing of those two songs and the making of those videos? Because they're powerful, they're compelling. And before you answer, I'm going to encourage everyone, go to YouTube, go to Facebook, or wherever you can and watch these videos. You'll be glad you did.
Thank you. That's so sweet. Each of those songs were so personally driven that it only felt natural to make the video opening up my personal life even more, which sounds very wild when you're already opening up your heart and writing a song and giving it to the world. And for 10,000 Miles, it really just became so obvious to me that through the many service members that I've loved throughout my life, and family that have served, friends that have served, friends, families, and so on and so forth, in my community back home, there's many veterans and active service members, and it just became really clear to me that I needed to do something for them, especially in the responses that I received for 10,000 Miles. They were so personal, and still to this day I receive messages from people about how much the song means to them, and it can be a random day. Like 2 weeks ago I got a message about it again, and that song's been out for I think almost 2 years now, if not just a year. So it's very cool to have people finding a place for that song in their heart, because I've opened up so much of mine, and to have them feel the same way and that they feel understood and validated is huge. So that video is very special to put together, especially with so many people that I knew featured in it as well. And then the Jackson lyric video actually was just filmed on an iPhone. Fun fact, I guess. We just put together some home videos, and that song is super personal as well, and it's just fun to feature it all.
It's coming home from school and old mama's always there. It's those late night songs and tear-filled prayers. It's got me running around this no stoplight town, asking for one more shot at Jackson. 'Cause I've got a couple bucks in my back pocket, a few lines that are worth the walk, and a spiral notebook full of songs where I try to find out what went wrong when Granddaddy tried to come home that night from a bar fight, and I wound up gone. It's the kind of things a kid can't depend on.
It's real. I mean, it's
Yeah.
about as real, both the video and the lyrics. And that's, again, you said you're putting yourself out there. I give you so much credit, because that to me is the power in it. And that's one of the beautiful things about country music is, the lyrics, the stories, the reality. But then when you couple a video like that with it, it just becomes even more powerful and compelling.
Yeah, it's really cool to be able to not only give people that audio art, if you want to call it that, but also the visual to it as well.
Right. And people feel like they are getting a sneak peek really into your life.
Right.
Which is very endearing. What can your fans look forward to in 2023?
Oh man, 2023 doesn't even sound like a year to me yet. It's so weird when you go into a new year, it just sounds so foreign. Lots of new music, new videos, and plenty more shows. I've got some opening acts this summer that I'm really looking forward to. Unfortunately, I'm still in the stage where I can't say any of it yet, and I'm dying to. I want to so badly, but I can't say it yet. But we've got new singles coming, and there's always music videos and more projects that come along the way. So there's plenty of opportunity to get your fill of all things Dariann Leigh.
Well, I'll tell you what, Dariann, we really have enjoyed having you on the show, getting to know you. And I think based on what you just said, I think we're going to have you back, after some of these things happen that you can't talk about now. So even though you can't talk about them now, if we can have a chance to maybe talk about them next year, either right before or right after they happen, that'd be pretty cool. How's that sound?
That sounds great. I love that.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us, and we look forward to big things, bigger and brighter things for you in 2023. We wish you all the best. Folks, thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next week.
Hey, it's Dariann. Sorry I missed your call. Be sure to leave a message and I'll get right back to you.
Hey, beautiful. I know you're probably sleeping right now. and I'm not sure when I'll be able to call again. Everything's going good over here. I love you, and I miss you.
Like waves in the ocean are bound to the sea, crashing over and over into me. Two drops in the ocean and our love is key. Oh, if you ever wonder where I'll be, from sea to shining sea, you know you're out there fighting. I'm trying to be strong, gotta keep on moving, step after step till I'm in your arms. 10,000 miles, never felt so far. My love is wherever you are. The nights are so long, yeah, I feel so alone. Reaching out for you, forgetting you're gone. From dusk till dawn, no matter how much time goes on. From sea to shining sea, you know you're out there fighting. I'm trying to be strong, gotta keep on moving, step after step till I'm in your arms. 10,000 miles, never felt so far. My love is wherever you I'm watching the sunset, thinking about you. Are you out there looking to the ocean blue? I promise I'll always be waiting for you. From sea to shining sea, you know you're out there fighting. I'm trying to be strong, gotta keep on moving, step after step till I'm in your arms. 10,000 miles, never felt so far. My love is wherever you are. My love is wherever you are.